So on this channel, normally we talk about politics, sports every once in a while, and things that just generally go underreported, and I could not think of a story that has gone farther under the radar than older women taking advantage of younger men. Normally, okay? If it's the flip reverse, if it's an older man taking advantage of a younger woman, it is front page headline news. It gets all of the traffic, all of the coverage, justly so. It's a despicable act that nobody should be advocating for, try to minimize, or make excuses for. But when it comes to underage boys getting molested by, just think about it. Their teacher, just as an example, and that's been going on for years. And what's a popular thing? If I had a teacher that looked like that and was doing that to me, I wouldn't complain about it. Well, there's a significant problem with that, okay? Just do the exact same flip reverse, okay? If it was a 30-something-year-old teacher diddling their freshmen in high school, like, that would be a problem. Nobody would be making that, if he looked that attractive, I wouldn't be having a problem with it now, thifter. No, it's wrong. It's wrong across the board. And the fact that this is the only time that I've seen this story pop up is like 3/4 of the way down the page on the Daily Mail. Nobody else is talking about it. And it's something that goes deadly underreported. So I think that's just emblematic of the gynocentric world that we live in. Like it or not. When things happen to women, it gets front page news. Whenever a woman's the perpetrator of the crime, that just gets swept under the rug super quickly. So I don't know what to tell you. Just like I was saying in the beginning there, this is all horrible shit, okay? And just by reporting on this or couching it in at least that opinion to begin, I don't mean to minimize anything else that's going on, any other underage sexual abuses. What we got here is specifically disgusting. Woman 38 is found guilty of sexually assaulting her daughter's friends, aged 12 and 13, during sleepovers where she plied them with alcohol and pot gummies. Christina M Greer, 38, groomed 2 boys, ages 12 and 13, into having sex with her. Greer was found guilty of 3 counts of first-degree sexual assault of a child, 6 counts of felony child abuse, and 2 counts of witness tampering. She was not guilty of 2 other counts, sexual assault of a child, and another count of child incitement by electronic communication. So she wouldn't even keep it to just the sleepover. She was constantly texting these boys as well. I think the only sentence she should receive is at the end of a noose. And her sentencing is scheduled for April 19th, and she faces a mandatory sentence of at least 45 years with the possibility of a life sentence. You might think that that's extreme, but she has fucked these kids over physically and mentally for the rest of their lives. We'll get into a couple of stories there by the end of this, but we'll cover this story right now. A Nebraska mom has been convicted, and that's another thing, okay? I troll a bunch of different sites before I do my stories for the day, and the fact that I had to go to the Daily Mail to even find reporting on this, that's emblematic of where we are, okay? Young boys are dispensable, unless of course you can slander an institution that leftists want to take down. Like, what's the only time that you actually hear of this? The Catholic Church, okay? That's despicable. Don't get that misconstrued. But when they can tear down the Catholic Church or the Catholic institution, we'll bring that up out of the closet, and that'll perfectly be in the zeitgeist forever. But don't look into any of the atrocities of the Islamic world who do the exact same, if not even more horrific shit. But Christina M Greer groomed 2 boys, ages 12 and 13, into having sex with her. A Sarpy County jury determined on Wednesday Greer, 38, was found guilty on 3 counts of first-degree sexual assault of a child, 6 counts of felony child abuse, and 2 counts of witness tampering after an 8-day trial. She was found not guilty of 2 other counts, the Sarpy County Attorney's Office said in a news release. These charges were from 1 count of sexual assault of a child and another count of child enticement by electronic communication. Now, what will some simps out there say? Oh man, if she looked like this, I wouldn't have a problem with that. If I was 12, I'd just be going along with it. Fucking idiots don't get it. You don't get it, do you? In 2019, Greer's daughter testified tearfully that her mother would take her to Walmart to buy strawberry and watermelon margarita mix and would pour the children's drink, the Omaha World Herald reported. So great, so her daughter's just as fucking traumatized as these other boys. How terrific. She said we wouldn't tell anybody because she'd get in trouble and lose her kids. Obviously. Something else I'm going to have to get into at one point or another is just the atrocious behaviors that single moms get away with, but that's another story for another time. And when it's another slow news day, I'll drag that one up. Trust me, I've got several problems with that. That goes all the way back to the welfare state being implemented by LBJ, who is in contention for being the worst president of all time. But anyways, children would then play drinking games and eat marijuana-infused gummy bears with the mom. Prosecutors said the girl, she even got drunk, and she would say every time. At the time, Greer's bail had been set at a whopping $1.5 million. Not high enough, if you ask me. Children who were at the sleepover testified that they observed the defendant and one boy kissing, prosecutors said in the release. Greer told the mom that, not to tell anyone about the abuse and to delete evidence from their phones. So why wasn't she found guilty of electronic communication violations? She said we shouldn't tell anybody because she'd get in trouble and lose her kids. The girl testified about her mother. Law enforcement retrieved sexually explicit photos of Greer from the phone of one of the victims, the release states. These kids showed a lot of bravery and fortitude by testifying and confronting their abuser, Deputy County Attorney Michael Mills said in the release. I agree, 100%. And the hypersexualization of children, from cuties to Slate.com running articles about being a pedophile is not being a monster. It's something I was born with. This is the final frontier. I can't think what else is taboo right now. It's the degradation of society, and I never thought that we'd cross this bridge, but it's one of those things that has to be called out. Nobody should be advocating that this is a good thing. I cannot see a credible defense for this behavior. And I don't know why more isn't being done to stop this, to publicize this. Like I said, I could only find this on the Daily Mail, okay? When they aren't too busy talking about the fucking behavior of some spoiled bitch at the fucking Oprah interview about a week ago at this point. They at least carved out some time to put a child molester on blast. And even here in Canada, you can see that this study, I had to go back to Canada Day of 2004, the last time that they did anything worthwhile in this space. And this right here is telling. Researchers into sexual abuse by girls, by females. Sexual offending is chronically underreported and specialized rehabilitation programs are urgently needed. Findings released yesterday from New Zealand's first study into adolescent female sexual offending reported a culture of denial about female sexual offending, which allowed adolescent female abusers to molest young, usually male victims without repercussions. If not rehabilitated, female abusers would most likely continue to offend and eventually pose a threat to their own children. A survey of 400 health, mental health, and related professionals identified 8 women in Christchurch, currently aged between 12 and 19, who had been sexually abused. It identified the other female abusers older than 19 who were excluded from the results. Lead researcher Nikki Evans of the University of Canterbury Social Work Department said there was an enormous amount of minimization surrounding sexual abuse by females, which meant it was usually not reported by victims, families, or health professionals. People find it really difficult to perceive young women engaging in sexually abusive behaviors, but it goes against the idea of women as nurturers, she said. Thank God this was written in 2004 because nobody would have the balls to come out and say this. Researchers showed many people, including mental health professionals, perceived female sexual offending as not abusive or harmful. Ugh. If a young girl abuses a 12-year-old boy, it is seen as an initiation and a positive thing rather than something traumatic, Evans says. Researchers Don Mortensen, manager of the Stop Trust, which runs rehabilitation programs for adults, adolescents, and child sexual abusers, said society has been slow to acknowledge that sexual abuse by females was equally as destructive as that perpetrated by men. Exactly. But this is the problem with, the term's been popularized lately, but it's been going on forever. Just these simps who cover up for the hot women who take advantage of younger men. And by younger men, I mean what? Preteens through 16? Fucks you up long term. And young boys who've been molested by older women don't come out and don't have the resources that are available to their female counterparts. It just doesn't exist. Like this, okay. This was another study that, like I said, I had to go back into the archives in 2004, and it was done in New Zealand. Like, nobody in North America is talking about this, even though it's happening right in our backyard. And even still, then I got to go over to the fucking Australian outlet to get any more information about people actually taking their traumas and doing something good with it. Aaron Gilmore was not even a teenager when he was sexually abused by a family friend who was regarded as a second mother. When it was reported to police years later, they told him they couldn't see what crime had taken place. Ken Clearwater was 12 years old when he said he was sexually violated by a woman and asked to do things he could never comprehend and was left scarred, ashamed, and broken. He even reported that abuse or named the woman. He never reported abuse that or named the woman involved. And in the sake of fairness, if something happens to you like that, go to the police, get a record of it. Otherwise, it's just hearsay and conjecture. Both men carried a deep shame for years, worried that police and society wouldn't believe that they had been abused by women. Both men believe this is why males don't come forward and report it. Now a father of 2 children and the owner of a dancing school in Auckland, Mr. Gilmore tells news.com.au, the grooming began at 11 after Hendrika Margaret Shasky noticed that he was a troubled kid craving attention. She was jailed for 5 years for sexual violation of Mr. Gilmore in 2003. Initially, Shasky was charged with cruelty to a child, that's it, but was upgraded to sexual violation, thank God. In 2005, New Zealand law was changed, which raised the maximum jail term to 10 years for any sexual connection to a person under 16. Shouldn't be a cap on that. While the New Zealand Dancing with the Stars performer has learned to cope with what took place during his formative years, it left him feeling numb like a shell. He said he felt he was unable to escape the abuse. Consent can't really be given when you're in a state, no matter how immature or mature you may feel, he said, of the abuse which went on until he was 18 years old. Shasky, was genuinely nice to me. I didn't have that kind of relationship with my own mother. I even called her my second mother. She won my trust. That's disturbing. And I hate reading this stuff because this disturbs me more than anything, really. People taking advantage of a kid, there's nothing forgivable about it. Like I said before, the only way that you stop this stuff is bringing back gallows. Ken Clearwater was just 12 years old when he was sexually violated. Already suffering a rape at the hands of a man, he never expected to be abused by a woman. She sexually violated me and wanted me to do things to her that I couldn't even comprehend, the Christchurch man said of the second assault. That abuse, which followed a rape 6 months earlier, destroyed the tiny amount of innocence and trust he had left. Alan Williams Davies was arrested and spent time in jail for abusing the young Ken after being charged with 2 counts of indecent assault. Ashamed, he didn't report the abuse at the hands of the woman or tell anyone out of fear that no one would believe a confused boy. She made me lie on the bed beside her. She started touching me sexually and got me to touch her. I was scared and couldn't get an erection, and she laughed at me, and she said it wasn't a real man, that I wasn't a real man, and that she was right. I was a frightened boy, and still took advantage of him. After the abuse that happened to me when I was a little happy boy to a nasty, angry, sarcastic person. More than 50 years later, the father of 2 beautiful daughters still has difficulty trusting women. I struggle with relationships with women and feel that when I am in it, I am trapped. I started drinking alcohol at 12, smoking cigarettes, and it wasn't until 72 I found marijuana, opium, LSD, cocaine. All these things helped me get through tough times. The biggest problem with alcohol is that I got violent, whereas marijuana helped me relax and forget about the shit spinning around in my head. It took up boxing to feel more like a man as a way of channeling his aggression. Mr. Clearwater said males are very reluctant to report sexual abuse because of the shame of guilt and fear, especially the fear of being seen as perpetuators, weak, gay, etc. But Clearwater ended up having a very successful boxing career. I need not elaborate that more. But then he also had a very successful TED Talk in Queenstown saying that 1 of 6 boys will be sexually abused before their 16th birthday. Can't verify those numbers, so take that with a grain of salt. We will never know how many boys and girls are being sexually abused. Some live with shame and guilt who take their own lives. He said sexual abuse and violence is a human rights issue, not a gender issue. I couldn't agree more. Exact numbers surrounding sexual abuse are difficult to obtain, with many cases going unreported. However, an ANRO's analysis of the 2013 Australian Bureau of Statistics Personal Safety Survey found women were significantly more likely to have experienced sexual violence and assault than men. It found 1.5 million women, 17.1%, or 1 in 6, have experienced sexual assault. Around 33.5 times as many women reported sexual assault at the hands of a man compared to another woman. 1 in 15 men, or 4%, experienced sexual assault since the age of 15, the figures reveal. But surprisingly, more men experienced sexual assault by a female than at the hands of another man. All of this is terrible, okay? Other than speaking up and trying to bring light to it. That is a good thing, obviously. But yeah, the shame and the underreporting, even of the police department, is disgusting. And it doesn't get talked about enough. And the fact that women just in general for committing these same crimes, this is where feminists don't like to bring up the Equality Act or want any sort of equality in this perspective. You commit the same crime, you do significantly less time, or maybe even none at all. Then we'll close by reading some of this. While female sex perpetrators may seem rare, research released this month showed it is a lot more common than previously thought. This article is from 2016. A survey in the United States found a similar amount of women being raped in a 12-month period as the amount of men who were made to penetrate a female offender. A new paper titled Sexual Victimization Perpetuated by Women, Federal Data Revealing Surprising Prevalence, contradicts the idea that female sexual perpetration is rare. Research used from the data from 4 main surveys, including the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, that very CDC that we hear so much about today. Using CDC data, they found that women and men reported nearly equal rates of non-consensual sex in a 12-month period. It found 1.6% of women in the United States being raped in the past 12 months, 1.9 million, which is a similar rate to the 1.7% of men, 1.9 million, who reportedly were made to penetrate a perpetrator. All this stuff makes me feel dirty, but it's important and it needs to be talked about, and it doesn't get nearly enough coverage. Because as you can see, all of the studies, all of the reports that I could find were from 2014 or from 2004, 2016, a UK publication. It doesn't get talked about enough, and in this highly sexualized, highly gynocentric society, critical approach to female perpetrators is not common enough, and its reporting is not often accurate. So it was probably a little bit of a different change of pace, but it's something that's definitely within the scope of what I care about, and hopefully you guys parsed some information from that because I think it's important. With that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.